Hi there, welcome to an important piece of coverage on the Noah Presgrove case, talking about the latest discussions and developments within the community and highlighting from last night, adding on to the possibilities of the golf clubs, an alternative way of looking at it, and on top a psychological approach when it comes to the community and groups which have been set up over time, as in what do you do with members and the capacity of it. That it'll be of interest to some people there, so make sure to stick around. Welcome to those that are joining this live premiere. It might not be a super long video, but you know, what's talked about needs to be covered. So if you want to use the live chat whilst you're here, feel free to do so on the right hand side of the screen. At any point, if you want to share your thoughts, discussions, comments, questions or answers, leave them down below under the video. I can respond back to them later. Leaving comments does help push the videos out there, and YouTube does that. So then it just leads to more awareness, more people learn about the case, brings more people in, and it might then bring in the right people with the right resources and fresh mindsets that look at it in different ways, which we haven't yet. So that has kind of happened in a way from what I've seen on my channel. I can't remember people's usernames, but I know there was a person called Miss E. Can't remember the last name, but yeah, credit to them and any other people that joined along the way. And whilst new people do come on in, and previous people, if you've missed out on any videos, you need to catch up on anything, don't worry, you'll be able to find the full playlist, top right corner where the I symbol is up there. Just click on it, drop down box, full playlist and some loose videos. Apologies about the audio, it is a few noises in the background like with the trains, can't do much about that. Got the window open because it's very hot here, so it was somewhat okay earlier, but then my big mouth messed it up and the weather's punishing me now for being a little bit positive. So back to shit weather, great. Hopefully I don't sweat too much today, or should I say tonight. So with that being said, we're just going to get into things. To start off with, what should we focus on first of all? I guess the wave of new people that have come on in, so I'll do that. Just as another heads up, if you would like to support the channel, just as an example, just get rid of that, distractions. I do not like distractions getting in my way. If you'd like to support the channel, in the comment section down below there is a pinned message with the PayPal link, and there is channel membership if you want to become a member on the channel. Credit to those that have been members recent and those that have rejoined as well, of course. People that rejoin on the channel, whether that be by auto or manual, that's much appreciated. Now, what I've noticed just in recent time, ever since the wrongful death lawsuit, there's been a small wave of new people coming on in onto my channel as viewers, which is a positive. But then equally, with me recently covering the videos, re-uploading the ones that are under 1 hour long onto TikTok, it's actually led to a few more views on TikTok than the videos that I upload on YouTube, which is a bit worrying in a way because YouTube is the main place, you know, because I'm more established, right? 16,000 subscribers or so, and maybe 600 to 1,000 views. On TikTok, I've only got 800 followers, but I'm getting nearly 2,000 views, but it is what it is, that's just reality. Main thing is additional awareness on a different platform. So that's got to do something, right? And the odd true crime channel has looked into it or watched a couple of my videos, whether they do coverage on Noah Presgrove on and off, or the odd video. It's just that cross connection and then that more awareness that there are other people out there finding my channel or my page with the coverage that I do. I know in the past I've done some videos which have been very, very, very important, but they've just gone under the radar, never to be seen or heard again. And it just happened to be a video where there was important evidence, a key finding, but people either didn't look for it or the platform didn't push it out there. It's a bit of a lottery at the end of the day. And to be honest, when it's a lottery and it's gambling, statistically speaking, it's not a positive. Because when algorithms are gambling with creators' videos, and it just so happens that those videos are actually a life and death situation, such as with missing person cases, true crime cases, you're basically playing with people's lives. Yeah, it's not a good look when you look at it deeper like that. See, There'll be humans with time that might downplay things and critique and stuff, but there are times and moments with what I cover and what I do, depending on the situation, maybe more so missing person cases, but the true crime cases as well, when locals do reach out, like in the past with Dylan Rounds, they can only say so much or do so much. They're restricted, they're limited, they feel in danger. At the end of the day, that some of the videos, some of the stuff that I have to execute and cover is a matter of a life or death situation. Whether that be the main person at hand in a case, or it could be on the sideline, could be a family member, could be a friend, could be a local. They've reached out to me, not being specific, because of people's privacy with time, and have said, well, here's this and here's that, but I can't be saying it, or don't be mentioning my name, don't be saying anything, because if you do, I could be killed next. Something bad could happen to me next, and I take that absolutely seriously. See, the ironic thing in life is I just take things serious. I am serious, and that's just because I'm shaped and forged in fire through the environments and through the shit that I've experienced and the people I've come across. Good people, or should I say bad people, in the disguise of good people, deceiving everybody else, but not me, because I see it firsthand. So my patience is somewhat limited nowadays, my fuse as well, and my focus is somewhat sharp. But beside that, what I'm getting at is when it comes to picking up on things, dealing with humans, taking it serious, but then the times of when it's not serious, but I treat it serious and there's a misunderstanding. The irony is I could be told, be less serious, okay? Lower that level of seriousness. But I tell you, guarantee that the next time that I don't take it serious and I take it as a joke or lighthearted, or they're lying, or they're not being completely truthful in what they say, and what ends up happening, they were being serious, and because I laughed, because I joked, oh, I'm now the bad guy. This is what I mean. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's better to take things serious 10 times out of 10 than to take it lighthearted or in a joking way, because at the end of the day, reality is in life, if you take something serious when it was meant as a joke, oh well, it flew over someone's head. Oh, what a shame. Move on. If you take something as a joke when someone's being serious, that's going to be deemed as disrespectful and rude and possibly hurtful. So you can see which way round is better if you got to be one way or the other. But the time where it really does benefit, especially in cases with me, the way I am and how I react, is that when you do have people in an awkward situation or a difficult place, and they want to reach out or they want to share something, go at a certain pace, one-on-one. Here's the info, here's the material, the negotiation, what can be shared, what can't be. Respect people's privacy as best as one can, and then spread awareness to people and not gatekeep it like others. So everybody wins in some way, and I take it serious all the time. Because I know some humans like to say, well, like Raf doesn't take the case serious, or is not doing it properly. If one wasn't taking it serious, ask yourself why one has made over 380 videos, almost a video every single bloody day. I think that's serious enough and taking it serious enough. And of course, regular viewers do acknowledge that. And another big positive that I've seen is the people that have commented in recent time, can't remember the names, but they've been watching since day one or close to day one, and they've just been watching in the background. That's a positive, because yeah, it adds a level of mystery. You don't know who's watching, you don't know who's in the background. Could be a ghost from the past, could be someone that knows me but I don't know them, who knows? It adds a level of intrigue. But for the people that just watch in the background, considering how we've seen at times there's been conflict, tension, drama and all that, but there are people that are actually watching, listening, taking it in, or trying to. That's a big positive, that, because I know it is hard to concentrate at times with everything that's going on. I know it can be hard at times when there's so much information and stuff to try and process and understand. It could be quite full on and overwhelming. And that's one of the other reasons why I have to keep on covering the case or keep up with it, because if I stop, what do you think is going to happen? There'll be some breaking news left, right and centre, or some other discussions, and then it's like trying to catch up once again. Because like with most true crime cases, I'm not joining in when it's absolutely fresh. I'm joining in a few months later or a year later, and so on. It takes time. And then once you do get a grip of something, you don't want to let go, because as soon as you let go, you fall behind, and it's not ideal, that. And I know some people have made jokes as in, oh, I've only been gone for a day or a few days and look what's happened. Exactly. But it is what it is. So besides, people watching in the background, and beside new viewers coming in, how's that a good thing? Well, it's obvious. It means the case, the video coverage, what I'm doing, and more so other people out there, which I would say would have to be the news groups, media outlets on YouTube and afar, whether it be Fox News, whether it be any other news station from the US that covers this case. And I said in the past, maybe some weeks back, that really to bring in a new wave of people, you need these news groups to do some coverage, because it's more public, it's more easily accessible and spread, and more people are likely to look to it and listen to it. They hear about it for the first time or for the second time round because of updates, then they go researching themselves, and then they find my videos, and that's how it all starts. So it does need a bit of a boost elsewhere, just like the Kenny Veach case in 2021 of November, when for 1 month, in 1 month, my channel got 419,000 views. Not been able to top that or reach that goal since, which is unfortunate, but for that one time back then, it was influenced by TikTok and popular creators covering the case, which then had a bit of a leak through in terms of people pushing on, researching, and then coming onto YouTube and then finding the videos. So yeah, outside presence does make a big difference, and then it can complement one another as well. And because of the wrongful death lawsuit, that's what you got to acknowledge. It's because of the wrongful death lawsuit, the news there, the coverage by the media outlets, pushing it out there, and then the general public coming across it, and then going in further, then finding some of my stuff. And to be honest, another positive and observation which I've noticed just recently is there's actually been a couple of true crime channels or card readers, spirit readers, which have come on in. Established channels, of course, and some upcoming, but they've decided to cover some stuff on the Noah Presgrove case. That's a positive. New people, new fresh faces. And the reason why it's a big positive is a creator, an established person coming on in, a creator meeting another creator like myself, could be on the same wavelength. That can be a positive. Doesn't always work out, but it can do. And it's what comes with that too. It's not just a creator coming on over into a case community, it's the creator and their audience, their established audience, and how that can help and how it can expand. Always got to take that into consideration. Okay, you had 10 to life, big channel, maybe 1 million subscribers covering the Noah Presgrove case recently, back to back. Okay. Just like how they covered the Dylan Rounds case. Yeah, but that channel tends to just cover different cases each time, not just stick to one. But still, with the sheer channel and size and the sheer awareness it brings, it's going to have an impact in somewhat of a positive way. But it's better when it's some of the smaller channels, because some of the smaller channels are more willing to respond back and reach out. I do understand that once you get to a certain size as a creator, a channel, you're not going to have all the time to respond back to everyone in comments and reach out from afar and so on. But when you're a smaller channel, you're not juggling as much. It's a bit easier. And I've seen it myself. Like, I've come across other channels which might be maybe smaller than mine or a little bit bigger than mine, and leave a comment here or there, and then they respond back, which is really good. And reality is with me, okay, 16,000 subscribers, but if I was to comment on a channel which has 1,000 subscribers and they responded back, I still get that feeling of, oh, this is good, when people actually respond back, especially a channel, regardless of what size they are. With the size, it's relevant to the amount of awareness that you can spread on channels and platforms. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. But with everything that's going on in recent time, okay, the wrongful death lawsuit, there's only so much that can be talked about and covered, and maybe we've reached a bit of a dry point now, but there'll be more that comes down the line. There's the odd other video maybe I could do here and there, but I just wanted to do a bit of a catch up right now because I've not really done that for a bit. So with that going on, that's interesting. In terms of the golf club, in terms of the conditions, the outcome of them from what's been said just recent, like last night. Don't know how true it is because I can't remember it myself personally, but I'll just base it on a theory, an idea for now, just to be safe. And you can, I don't know, if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comment section below. Supposedly, it's been said that whilst Noah Presgrove had Dalen's clubs, which may have not been a full set, it really doesn't matter. If there's a couple of clubs, they can be used, labelled as weapons. Not that they were, but they can be used as weapons more so than a pair of socks. You get what I'm saying? So as long as there is at least a club that's at the party, it can be used if necessary, even if it sounds really dark and unlikely. I'm just saying it as it is. So yeah, what people have been claiming just recent is that Noah Presgrove, okay, had Dalen's clubs, bag, took them down to the party, but Dalen bought at the same time maybe, another bag of clubs. So basically what Noah Presgrove had was Dalen's old clubs, meaning Dalen probably wouldn't need them back when he's got a new set. I don't know how true that is. I don't remember that being worded. All I remember, and it was said quite a few times, is that Noah Presgrove borrowed Dalen's clubs. If you're borrowing somebody's items or possession, it's temporary. And that at the end of that, you've got to give it back because they need it, they want it, they still use it. If they had the same thing but a new version, if they had a phone, then bought a new phone, with that second phone, what they've got, the old one, they might not need it anymore, they might pass it on down to somebody else. So it's interesting how in news articles and stuff here and there online, and maybe the People article as well, in the past it was worded as Noah borrowed Dalen's clubs. But some people just recent, like last night, were saying they didn't quite word it as Noah borrowed Dalen's clubs. It's just that Dalen had a new set of clubs. So what Noah had could be interpreted as passed on down to Noah. So you could do anything with them. What's true, what's not, I don't know. But based on if the conditions are met, that Dalen did have new clubs, new bag, and that what Noah Presgrove had was the old stuff, rejects, could do anything with them. They didn't need to be handed back. There was no responsibility. Take them down to the party, purposely use them for smashing random objects up because Noah may have known that Dalen had new ones, so who cares what happens with these? You can be more reckless, right? And then if that Noah was to take the clubs and bag back home, which would have been on a Sunday after breakfast, getting back home, keeping them in the bed of his truck or taking them into the house. When Noah next went down to the party, back to the party, he was picked up by Gage Jessen. So if Noah had the clubs in the back of the pickup or took them inside of the house, likely he didn't bring them with him when he went back to the party. Why would they leave the party anyway, as in on a Sunday? Because maybe Noah Presgrove intended on leaving and not returning back, and that's why, hence it led to Jack, as some said, begging, but there's no proof of that Jack called and wanted Noah back, as in Noah didn't have any intention on returning back originally, so Jack called to try and persuade him back because they wanted him there, maybe in an innocent way only. But if Noah had it in his mind originally, intent to leave and not return back Sunday afternoon onwards, not even Monday, possibly, then you can understand why Noah would be taking the clubs away when going back home. You could interpret it like that. The only counterpoint is what I would say. If the clubs were taken back home on Sunday morning after breakfast and they were left at home from there on then and remained there all the way till maybe a family member picked them up or got rid of them, and I'll explain more about that later, is that Caden Pressey said that the clubs were used Sunday evening, Sunday night. Well, if Noah has taken them back home, no clubs would be left at the party, right? So what's Caden talking about there? Who's actually telling the truth? Okay, you can say what people are stating as in Noah took the clubs back home. Oh, that's lies, that's BS, it's rumours. Rumours, BS, words, that's all it is, right? Well, look at Caden Pressey. That's just hearsay then. From what he says to when they were used, on what day and what for. Do we have any footage? Nope. Do we have any hard evidence? Nope. Is it just words? Yep. Is it any different to general public saying stuff? Same thing. That's rude, that's disrespectful, because it's Caden of all people. Yeah, Caden, who's been inconsistent and had discrepancies, and on top of that, Alicia has twisted his words and said things which Caden never did at the party. Not a good look. It's very unfortunate. And basically, at the end of the day, is with what Caden has said or Caden has done, and it may have contradicted from one time in 2023 with those never seen before text summarised by me, and then what was said in 2024, and then onwards, it's a bit all over the place. It's very unfortunate. It damages credibility. It creates trust issues. Yeah, you can be screwed over by people in life. Yeah, you can come across good people, nice people who turn out to be and it creates trust issues. That has its own problems. But if you come across an innocent, good person who supposedly is, but just unfortunate, whether that be out of their control, not done with intent, but they crumble or implodes or the cracks form and you see the real them, or you see a certain side to them which you're not quite familiar with, not used to. So that would be inconsistencies and discrepancies. When Caden Pressey did his interview podcast, okay, it was okay. We didn't have anything to compare it to, so everything was fine and calm to some extent for more people. But then when the leaked interview came out, not by the hands of Caden, not that it was his fault, leaked interview because of the mother sharing it with other people online, privately, and then getting stabbed in the back. Unfortunate, Caden, at the cost, suffered because of that. But then it enabled others, like myself, honestly, to compare and contrast. Unfortunately, there was big contrasting points mentioned by Caden here and then Caden there. So unfortunately, it opened up that discrepancies, those issues, which then led to trust issues and then being more cautious and being more wary. And for some people in communities and cases, that can have lasting effects. When there's drama and conflict in communities, you think you found someone, some people, some groups you can reach out to and open up about the case and maybe other things in between. Some people get closer. Then what? You get stabbed in the back. People show their true colours. And then what? Long-term damage for yourself. Oh, it's online. It's only online. No matter where it is in life, it can be damaging. Digital, physical, a person is a person, people are people and humans. Right? That's what you're dealing with. As I've always said, you might see people's true colours quicker online than you will in real life, because in real life, people are cowardly. But online, there's less consequences, so people can do what they want and get away with it. But at least you get to see it quicker than if it was face-to-face, dragged out. The more dragged out something is, the stronger things are built and foundations are built, and trust as well. But when it does go wrong, when it does break down, communication in any type of format is more impactful on yourself. And just like with true crime, whilst there is only supposedly one victim, it's at what cost and what comes along the way in the case for those as well involved in the case, and even people in the community with all the conflict. And yeah, people can say, oh, it's bad, it's toxic, it's horrible. It's everywhere. It will happen. It is where it is. Food channels, there's drama. Ghost channels, paranormal channels, there is drama. It's all over the place. Of course, people will say it's because it's popular. It drives views, it creates growth and people benefit from it. Well, typical me. My reality, when I've had to defend myself for good reasons, if there was some kind of drama, did it work out for me? No. Right? So when people say, oh, people do this and do that because it works, no, it doesn't. If you've got a big channel versus a big channel, or a small channel versus a big channel, popular, named people, it'll be of people's interest in the general public. If it's two strangers having to go at one another online, who's going to give a F about it? Really no one, unless it was hilarious or funny or unique and it caught the attention of other people out there. But beside that, when referring back to this case, right, with the new people that come on in and the new channels as well, because of all this coverage, it might cleanse the water elsewhere. But it depends how people are guided through it all. Because, okay, there's been the odd little channel here and there or short clip which has talked about this case, but they've made mistakes. So what I've done is I've come along, not with my head rammed up my rear end like other people do most of the time, but I've just commented on some videos and channels out there just to say, well, this is the actual person that called the police. This is the actual time. And no, that didn't happen that night. It happened all on the morning time, right? Very important. When I lock in, I will lock in an appropriate way, lenient towards channels and creators, of course, or as best as I can, because, look, I could be in that position as well at some point. Got to try and remember that myself. When it comes to the professional media outlets, right, all that strictness and professionalism, well, then there's a few exceptions there, especially with the Kenny Veach case. But, you know, the way it's worded at times, the regurgitation of the same old story is what tends to ring true, especially with the news coverage. Even after months and months, and if there's been breakthroughs in between and updates, people still stick with the regurgitated story, and it gets a bit boring. You need to add in the additional details along the way for a clearer clarity. So when I can, that's what I do. So besides just spreading awareness and keeping the case alive with some of the videos that I do, and even on TikTok as well, trying to expand there, when other people, newer channels, or just people newer to the case come on in, maybe a question or how they word it, just to correct, not to attack, just to correct. So then they're aware on the same wavelength and the same path, and just to respond more appropriately compared to how other people can with time, because some people have a complete meltdown. Let's be realistic. When it came to me covering the difference between a couch, a chair, a recliner, we're not in fucking IKEA, but some people had a complete meltdown over the quality of the wood or the material, as in, oh my God, ref, you got it wrong. That's not the correct type of furniture. You've not used the correct terminology. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Should I get a tissue and wipe away my tears? No, I don't cry no more because there's nothing left. Oh, what a shame. But you know what's still left is a lot of whingy whiners that can't get a grip of themselves, right? As I said, when you get over emotional humans, it just slows things down and it adds a bit of weight, okay, when other people are trying to progress. But when the right people come in and there's a right level of guidance and it's under control, right? This is the important thing. You might show up at a place, at somewhere, in some environment, at a time where it may be a little bit too late, but you can't change what's previously happened, the damage, the recklessness, and by the acts of others. But when you're present, what can you control now, even if it's small? What can you control onwards? And it's not about controlling in a negative way, but controlling as a means of building a form of stability, right? Forming a bit of consistency, forming a bit of reassurance, okay? But, oh, here's some coverage in an appropriate way. This is what it's all about, with the aim as well. And then, oh, if you need material or if you need to express yourself, here's the ways to do so, all in a controlled way. But the only reason why certain snaps and posts and never seen before party footage exist is because of how I conducted myself when coming across certain people and responding. Okay, I didn't have it in the first place, but just in terms of how I responded, it kind of enabled and opened up the ability to be able to pass things on, whereas other people in the past that are quick and sharp and call others out and whinge and insult, you're burning bridges down, then you're then externally making it hard for everybody else, so then they suffer as well. What good does that do? That's a bit of a problem in itself. So you're going to keep things under control. And when new people come on in and creators, just to welcome it, because it's a good thing, of course, when there's more people covering a case or involved in a case. Whilst, yes, I have said that it's also a bad thing as well. It just depends what type of people that are present, right? And at least with the cases that I've covered or looked at, it started off with multiple people. This time round, it started off with really no one. And slowly, there's a few people coming in covering it. So it's like, if you get in first, you establish yourself with the knowledge and the material, but if anyone else comes in afterwards, you can guide them or just give a heads up. If you all start at the same time, for some reason, that's where problems come about. Not as much this time round on the YouTube side, it would have been more so on the Facebook side, just amongst different people who are part of the different groups and pages, I know that. But of course, there's only so much you can control, but at least the things that you can control, if done correctly, it can make a big difference in a case, whatever that is. So, in terms of the waves of people, Returning back to, well, not returning back, but adding on to the psychological aspect now, what I wanted to refer. Some people a bit uncertain as to, should I allow this person onto the page? Should I allow that person onto the page? We don't need to mention direct names specifically, but you may have a list, a set of named individuals who may have approached you, wanted to join a Facebook page. And some of those names I might know of, what I'm thinking in my head, you may be thinking of as well, depending. What I would say is, if I was in that position, you have to ask yourself, where were you once before? Who were you surrounded by? And what were the numbers in people present? Were you in the position of being in control or having some group and being an admin moderator? Were you at the bottom of the pecking order? Were you just simply a viewer, participator? Where were you at some point previously? And what happened in that space of time? And compare that to now, present time. What role are you in now? Have you changed? Have you leveled up? Are you in a different group? Is it a new group, established, re-established? Was it a group in the background that was set up temporarily but kind of closed off, and ever since it's opened up now because of everything else going wrong elsewhere? So people, rejects, outsiders, people that have been pushed and shunned away and blocked and kicked, have all gathered together now into a new place, a new allegiance form. Not that it has to be an allegiance at all. You've got to be very careful. You don't want to repeat what happened in the past, whether you're responsible for the past or you just witnessed it elsewhere. Okay. To be honest, in the Dylan Rounds case, there was a lot of vulnerable people that may have been quite naive. Actually, no, there was a lot of naive people that made the same mistakes over and over again. But there is that unfortunate dark reality. You shouldn't have to think this way, but it does come in. Like with the Dylan Rounds case, naive people, vulnerable, thinking the best, or thinking it's a good thing, or thinking it's harmless and there's no danger, then they get trapped, they get stuck, they get threatened, maybe in real life, and it all goes wrong for them. And at the cost of supporting a channel or creator out there, what they did, they indirectly supported a channel which may have been attacking somebody else, maybe myself. And it's like, do I have sympathy for those humans that claim to be naive, claim to be vulnerable? To some extent, maybe there's an understanding, but then down the line, when they've repeated themselves, because I said from 2022 onwards that this cycle would continue for years. And that's exactly what has happened with time and observations. I got that correct. And for the same humans, over the course of some years, to be trapped in drama or conflict or attacks or being exposed and running back to the same person that's been attacking you, you could say it's a controlling situation. But at the end of the day, I think there's an exception here. It's not a domestic situation. It's not real life. In real life, it's not behind closed doors in a house. It's online in communities in which you still have the space to breathe, and you still have real life as well and connections around you to focus on and any of the responsibilities. But I think people just use the naive vulnerability card when it suits them, just to be treated more leniently. They might cry. That's what people did in the Dylan Rounds case. Some people cried, some people whined, some people begged and bowed down so to be treated more leniently. It makes a mockery of the quiet ones. The quiet ones in this world are the most genuine, but also the ones that suffered the most. But they don't make a big song or dance about it. But all the other gobby loudmouth bastards and other bombastic prats along the way, those tarnish everything. So because I've come across a lot of those people and they're so naive, oh, we'll keep making the same mistakes. Is there a level of leniency anymore? I don't think so. Because they know what they're doing, and that's what the real dark reality is. You think some naive people are truly innocent. They're far from it. So when you've got a cross-dimensional hybrid type of personality like that, it adds complexity to it all, and it's a complete mind F as to, whoa, who do you trust next and who do you go about next? And in true crime, in communities, you'll see it quite a bit. And to be honest, the same has happened in the Noah Presgrove case, where people are fully aware of others out there and what they do to me, that they themselves will reach out or message someone. And then afterwards, it's like, oh, I've been exposed, my messages have been leaked. Have you not learnt? Have you not seen others that followed in the same direction and got burned? Why did you think you were so much more different, that you'd be treated differently, right? If there's enough patterns and it stands out crystal clear, should be able to pick up on it, maybe learn from it, maybe adapt to some extent. Not that there's a high expectation, not that there is a demand, but just out of maybe common sense, in some way, some kind of instincts kicking on in. Or if it's something bad has happened already, that the next time round you might change the approach. Unless it's because it's the first time something bad has happened, so it's not to be expected. Just like how people that look at true crime cases in communities for the very first time, not expecting it to be like this and thinking, well, I'm not going to cover it again. I'm not going to return back to a true crime case. Once is done and that's enough. But to be honest, just like with others out there, I do remember it was more so in the Dylan Brown's case when I analysed people for good reason. The way people got so up themselves and backs against the wall when I did it. If I did it now, it'd be very interesting to see how things would go. But the Noah Presgrove case is important, and there's breaking news, or there has been more focused on that. I do find it funny though, some of the responses along the way, but no surprise. But the psychological aspect, important too. If you have a page on Facebook or a group that you have created in recent time, or it's re-emerged, become more accessible now because it was more of a background filler in the past. But if you are in a situation like that, and yeah, you've got a bit of a growing group and page now, it doesn't have to be a complete gated community, I get that, but just be careful who you let in, right? Okay, if you've got fake accounts, impersonation accounts, random accounts, that's difficult, that's hard, I understand. But familiar faces and names which you have come across before and now they're really excited or passionate to join, if you've had run-ins with them in the past, and maybe more than once, is it a good idea letting them in? If they are the sole reason or part of the reason as to why there was a downfall in the past, why would you allow it to happen all over again? If you finally found a form of peace, found a form of control, you've reached a mountaintop or a checkpoint along the way, and you can finally breathe, why undo all of that when it's taken this long to get to that place in the first place? And if it's that important enough, you wouldn't go back on it, as some people do down the line. So you just got to take that into consideration for the sake of yourself and how it impacts you, or how it has impacted you previous. Would you want a repeat of that or not? And then for the sake of everybody else that's present in the group, because after some time, there is a form of conditioning, whether that be trust issues, whether that be the roller coaster effect in which people speak highly of the case in breaking news and what's going to come about. But there is a big change up, there's a big shake up by the end of the week and it never happens, and then people get excited, then let down, and then disappointed over and over again, an endless cycle. And some people don't learn, but then eventually they do learn just through conditioning of the mind, that they become so worn down and there's nothing left of them inside. Well, when something like that happens, when it comes to pages and groups and people that could have been responsible for that, you don't want to bring that in. If you bring a certain presence in, it's going to be like a vacuum. It's going to suck it up like a black hole, and you'll be back to where you once were. And when you are returned back to where you once were, you'll be reminded of how you felt where you once were. And the whole point of trying to move away from that, not forgetting the past, that's the most important thing. If it's important enough to you, or at least the side effects along the way with how you've been treated in a true crime case or community or anywhere, any place, any time, but it's been that bad, that it's had lasting effects on you, the effects are important to you, and so are the events. Because if you dismiss one, you kind of dismiss the whole point of suffering in the first place. What was the whole point for it? There's got to be a reason behind it, and that's because of what's happened in the past. You don't have to replay it constantly, but you just somewhat remember to some extent, and not in a positive way, not in a negative way, but just as an observation that what's happened then is what you are now, and then change can come with that. But just remembering to some extent, not as a means of torturing or self-torturing, but just being able to keep you grounded. So then the next time round, it may happen again, or there's possible imminent threats of it, you can possibly work around it or avoid it. making it just a little bit easier and better. So when it came back to the point of some naive people in the Dylan Rounds case just going round and round in circles, same mistakes over and over again, then playing the victim card. Some people did it because they knew what they were doing and they were benefiting to some extent, and then they did kind of suffer, and then they benefited again. It was just back and forth. So got to be aware. If a page or a group is okay as it is now, then just keep that up and don't try not let it drop. Okay, maybe recently with what's gone on and some disagreements, not from my channel directly, but how it's crossed on over onto live chats and whatnot and disagreements. Okay, there might be a bit of a downfall period, but, you know, just take it in, take a step back. You know, fight or flight, run away. You don't have to run away no more. Take a tactical retreat, regroup, regather. There's a form of symbolism. That's what's happened, hence, in some of the Facebook pages out there, or the odd new page which has come up or been reactivated. Tactical retreat, regroup, refocus, rethink, go from there. Cleansing. That can help as well. Just be careful who you let in, and familiar faces, be very careful there, right? Because you don't want history to repeat itself, as it's already happened too many times just in general on YouTube with cases and true crime. With that being said, the coverage on my channel for videos, I do need to spend some time as for like ideas. Could possibly do a live stream sometime coming up if the weather is correct and okay. Do it a bit earlier as well. And the live stream can be going over the talk of, are there any suspicious events? Any events which could be deemed as suspicious in the case. Go over each event and I'll give my thoughts on it. Do I think it's suspicious? Do I think it's a normal, natural event? Is there anything behind it which could have darkness? And so on, right? It might generate ideas, discussions, and then go from there. In the meantime, whilst we wait for more breaking news or developments, I do understand about the wrongful death lawsuit because how it's been filed and by the family and what the family says or what the wrongful lawsuit says, which then may match or support what the family believe. The general public will have an emotional magnetizing pull to agreeing with that and listening and saying, yes, that's the case, that's what it is, it's true, it's foul play, it's murder, it's this and that. But the general public and the news outlets that cover it need to be careful because it's what's been alleged, what supposedly has happened, not what absolutely has or had happened. It's still kind of uncertain, got to be careful there. And how it does mention a beatdown or maybe some kind of accident. So within the wrongful death lawsuit, it's not absolutely certain. I could do like a standalone little short video about the Caleb situation, how he's listed as a defendant and how it's worded that he allowed Noah to ride it, but Caleb wasn't there supposedly. I know I've just said that now, but as a standalone video, that can be done too, right? On the sideline, break it down, narrow it down just a little bit. There were dates that were given and posted on Facebook to do with trials, pre-trial, discovery, interviews and things like that in a certain order with dates, but there's no point sharing that with you because it was supposedly AI chatbot auto-generated. It's not actually official. But there's no context as to whether it's official or not. So when people post things like that, thinking it's a good idea, it's useless, it's incompetent, or at least provide context as to, is this real, is this official, or is this auto-generated? Is this interpreted? Is this like an example, a baseline of what you could expect, not what has happened, not what will happen, but what could happen? Very careful with language and wording, or at least just the attempt in trying. And oh my God, with time, the people that I have seen that are so piss poor with language and wording, they do not make an attempt. They do not learn from it over and over again. Yet someone like me, trying as best as I can to be as specific as possible, because it's important to me, it's important in the moment, it's important to the situation, the case, and maybe even the other individual or groups that may watch or be present in some way. But I don't think other people, other humans out there don't take it as serious as I do with language and wording. So that's why there's a downfall elsewhere, because other people can't be bothered to get a grip and can't be bothered to actually consciously be aware in the moment. Too far heads in the cloud. Wake up, or at least try to. Because these are serious situations. It's not just casual talk. This is a missing person case. This is a true crime case. This is whatever the case it is in a situation, a death of an individual, which could be treated as true crime, possibly, right? So it's not like a playground where you can just be very loose about it when it comes to reporting on the case, talking about the case. There's been a couple of viewers on my channel which have made a good effort, as in saying, I think this and I think that, this is my opinion. It goes such a long way, and it helps everybody else that comes along and sees the comments, because then they know that it's not a fact. They know it's just an opinion, and it can be a good opinion. It could turn out to be a true opinion down the line. But in the moment, it's clear, it's honest, straight to the point. It doesn't slow down anything. If other people did that, a lot of other things would be a lot easier. But it just hadn't happened. So with that being said, just a little analysis there. Hopefully it makes some sense. And maybe to some people it helps them when learning on Facebook groups and pages who you let in, who you don't. Just try and avoid the past from repeating itself. My name's White Ref. Next time round, there could be a live stream, or there might be a normal video in between if I think of ideas. So appreciate your patience, and for those that have watched and continuous. So thanks for watching, goodbye and good night for now.